Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Katie and I, along with my partner Cody, run Highboy LA. We love all things mid-century, home decor, houseplants, and we are huge proponents of sourcing furniture secondhand to create a more sustainable home. Today's a very exciting video because it's episode 1 of house hunting. This has been a long time coming. We've had this goal for years now and we're finally here. In our last video, I got you guys up to speed on where we're at in terms of buying a house and kind of our future plans for that. While we're super happy in our LA apartment, we are looking to buy a house in Illinois where we're both from so we can be closer to family. We're looking in an area close to Cody's family, so I want to give a huge shout out to Cody's family for helping us do this process from afar, and of course our realtor as well. So the area we're looking in is rich in historic homes and just history in general. There's a lot of homes with character there, and that's exactly what we're looking for. We really want to get an older home that may need some work because we really just want to put our stamp on something. Being renters for our entire adult life has been great, and we feel like we've still been able to be creative and put our own stamp on things, but we're really pumped to be able to play around with like fixtures and finishes and that kind of stuff. We also really want to tap into the local salvage scene. There's so many building materials and things you can find at salvage stores or places like the Habitat for Humanity Restore. We think it would be really cool because then we could save a ton of money and also be more sustainable. So today we're looking at 3 houses: the Train House, the Red House, and the Victorian House. We did put an offer in on one of the houses, and I will have more on that later, so I'll let you guess which house that is. I also want to apologize in advance for the shaky video. I could have sworn I used a stabilizer when we were filming this, but either we did and it just didn't work, or we didn't, so I'm very sorry because it was really annoying editing it and it's not smooth and I hate that. So apologies in advance for that. Also, there's painters working on the back house in my apartment, so if you hear that noise, helicopters, things like that, just the city noise whenever I'm filming, I swear it like escalates and gets worse, so apologies in advance. Without further ado, let's get into the house hunting. All right, first up we have house number 1. I also took notes because I don't want to miss a thing, and I got my iced coffee here. House number 1, the Train House, $119,500. I think they just reduced the price. It's still available. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, about 1,200 square feet, built in 1920. So the pros of this house are it has a really big yard, it's in a really good location in the town that we want, and it has a really cool bonus space. The cons are it's right next to the train tracks, so that could be potentially dangerous if we have like kids or nieces and nephews come over. And also it just has like a lot of hodgepodge finishes. They kind of were trying to renovate things here and there and none of those things match, and it just looks really sloppily done. So let's dive a little deeper, and again, sorry for the shaky video. Okay, so we're walking in this house through kind of the kitchen door. We enter into the kitchen and it's really spacious, which is nice, but it kind of needs to be completely redone because everything feels a little flimsy, a little hodgepodge. There's this small bedroom right off the kitchen, which isn't the worst. The floor is a little mismatched and it's like missing some of those transition pieces in the doorway. The yard here is insane. I think that's the best part of this house. Then there is a second bedroom right next to that, and again, it's missing, I think, floorboard trim. It's missing those transition pieces from the door. We do love the view. They do both have closets, which is nice. It's fine, to be expected from a house from 1920, but I think that door was missing the trim, the frame around it. The laundry is in the kitchen. That's kind of the dining nook, but the laundry's in there, so we'd have to figure out a way to kind of blend that in. This is the bathroom, which also needs like a major gut because it's dinge, very dinge. Then there's also this weird storage closet that must be at the top of the stairwell to the basement. I forget, but sure, we love a linen closet. So the light in here is actually really nice. So this is kind of like the second living area. This could also be a dining room, sitting area, maybe an office, but you walk through it. It has a big post in the middle, which is obviously like a load-bearing beam. This is that front living room. Another thing is the drop ceilings. A lot of houses we're looking at in this area have drop ceilings, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but there's not a lot of like aesthetic drop ceiling options if we would have to just keep it a drop ceiling, and then in order to switch it is, I think, extremely expensive. So this is the bonus space. This is another cool feature of the house, but look at the stairs. Like, you see what I mean? Hodgepodge. Like, they like threw a random piece of wood here and there to patch things up, but if you can imagine it really nice, this could be cool. So there's French doors going out there. There's no balcony, but we would make a balcony. And then there's this huge like lofty space. It would be really cool if there were plumbing access up here, because then we could do a bathroom and it could be like a primary suite, and I could picture that looking really cool. Or you could do a really big closet on one side. This is the little closet in between. But again, just kind of a lot of potential. I do love the beadboard. We would probably keep that, either painted a different color, or I think sanding it down would be a lot because it's already all painted, which is sad. And then this is another storage space, kind of attic-y. Great, we love that. Imagine if you could convert that into something too. I think we would need it for storage, but this is the room I saw where I was like, we need to go see this house. You never know. But like, see how it's misaligned? It's, I don't know what other word to say except like hodgepodge, arts and crafts. We're going back down. Oh, Cody was filming this, I guess. So I think here I was saying how it reminds me kind of apartments in Chicago when we were in college and we were looking at just like the cheapest apartments available. Old hodgepodge. It functions, it's fine. It's gonna be a great home for someone. So this is the yard. It's actually stunning. It's very big. They had a little trellis, a little front yard, but across that fence are literal train tracks. And I don't necessarily mind the noise because I've lived, you know, under the L tracks before, but I think safety wise for what we're looking for in this house, it just doesn't seem ideal. Okay, so then when we were done looking, we realized there was a whole front porch that we missed. So there was a door out of that front living room and it goes into this front porch. That's another common feature for houses in the area. They all kind of have screened-in porches because they're old homes, and I think that was a really common thing. So this is the front porch, a ton of beadboard, which I do love the beadboard, but it seems like patched, you know what I mean? And then there's stained glass windows in here, or so we thought, and then we realized they were actually DIY stained glass windows. So you'll see over here, like someone just painted the design on, so I guess that's cute. But this is it. I mean, does it have potential? Yes. Does it need a ton of work? Yes. But it's like a little bit of work everywhere, as opposed to it having like a solid base and us redoing a bathroom or redoing a kitchen. So that concludes house number 1, the train house. I'm very excited to show you guys house number 2. Let me get the specs. So house number 2 is the red house. It's $95,000. It's really good. 2 bed, 1 bath, about 1,000 square feet. So a little bigger than our apartment, and it's built in 1938. So the pros of this house are it has a huge lot, huge. And there's room to build an ADU down the line. We could do it in the front. That could be really cool. I do love the juxtaposition of having like an old house and a modern ADU. I personally think that's really cool. And then obviously the price. It's extremely low price. It's been reduced since, and you will see why. The cons, I just wrote WTF question mark. It has a really weird layout, and again, hodgepodge finishes. I keep saying the same word, but that's just how I can best describe it. So let's take a look at house number 2. We're at house number 2. The location's really good. It's off a main road, which does have its pros and cons, but we like the location. And then this is the huge lot. So the front yard is massive. It's all gravel. If you want a driveway, you'd have to put that in. But the potential for like gardening and landscaping and putting like fun features in the yard for entertaining are pretty much endless. This is kind of the carport on the side. When I see things like this, I just think of all the potential. Like there's so much room there and also behind it. The owner must have used windows from the house in this carport. You can kind of see like on the side of the house, it's covered where there used to be a window, and it's a shame because the house really needs more windows and needs more natural light. I do like the color of the house. I think that's fun. Next is right when you walk in and turn left, there's this room. It almost looks like they used it as a community room. And at first I was excited because I thought it was brick, but it's actually just brick wallpaper. Yeah. So this room has potential. There's a French door, but it's like closed off. But it has a French door that can open out into that massive front yard. So imagine like if this was kind of like a cozy room and then you could open those doors and walk out into your garden. I think that's magical. This is a bedroom. So there's sconces on the wall randomly. It's pitch black. They have all the windows shut. There's built-in wardrobes, which is really nice, but you could tell this was an addition based on just kind of the materials they used and the lack of light and the lack of cohesion from everything else. I personally like the wood paneling. I think we could crush a wood paneling room, but this wasn't even like flush to the wall. There was like a lot of bubbles and warps. Can see a slight arch detailing over there, which is nice, and I believe that wall is plaster or stucco, which I almost wish the entire room was. There's beadboard ceilings, which is cool, and then that was an actual tile floor. So this is that entrance. It's a narrow hallway, and you go to the right, now you're in the kitchen. So kitchen's tiny, that's okay, it's bigger than ours. It's old, I'm not mad at it, I think it's fine. There is a window above the sink. Again, everything's pitch black in here. We would do different counters, different backsplash, and then this is a little breakfast nook. That slot right there has space for a table. I believe there's a built-in bench. There's another window, not letting in any light, and then this is the back door. It goes into like a little courtyard area, and then we're going back more into the laundry room, and then through the laundry room you get into another bedroom. So I think this would be like the primary. Yeah, so this is the primary. There's a bathroom in here, no windows. See, there's a door there, so like where does that door go? Is it supposed to go outside? Oh, we open it. Okay, great. Okay, storage. Lovely. It's like a mystery house. Like you just keep unraveling the layers. We're not mad at random storage though. But do you see what I mean when I keep using the word hodgepodge? I know that's what we're getting at this price point, but there are some gems out there, I absolutely promise you. So we're in the bedroom. More built-in wardrobes, which is really cool actually. So now we're walking through and we're gonna get to the front room. This is what I believe would be the living area. I do like that wood paneling over there, and there's some nice detailing on the ceiling and on the side, but you can see on the left where that big white patch is, that was a window. So imagine that front window and then a side window the same size and all that light. It's got potential. A mid-century door. I don't know if that was originally the front door, probably, and you would come in here. This is the courtyard, which is kind of fun. I don't think it was completely enclosed, but it definitely, oh my God, was it a shower? Okay, I think there was an outdoor shower. That's weird. That actually could be cool though. A lot of potential. This is behind that carport. Just a huge property, a huge outdoor space. Cody and I would love to have a greenhouse. We just have a lot of hopes and dreams. We would like a fire pit. We would potentially like a hot tub. All of these things, and there's room for it at this house. That concludes house number 2. Let's go over house number 3. All right, so now we're at house number 3. This is the Victorian house. It's $155,000. It's a 4-bed, 2-bath, and it's 2,100 square feet, built in 1866. This is a really old home. It's in the absolute best area of the town. It's the worst house in that area. So we were thinking of Chip and Joanna the whole time. Remember on their show, they'd be like, we find the best house in the worst neighborhood. We find the worst house in the best neighborhood. That was this. So the pros, it's a historic home. You could look up the records of this property, find out who lived there, what they did for a living. Just the history goes deep because this town has a lot of ties to Abraham Lincoln, which is very cool. Anyway, best neighborhood, another pro. It's right along the river, but it's not a floodplain, and it has so much potential. Also, my favorite thing, my little favorite detail is it has horse posts. So homes from the 1800s, obviously pre-car, they had these metal or iron posts out in the front, and they have 2 on this house. They're black iron, and then they have a little brass horse head with like the little loop that you would literally tie your horses to. And I just think that is so freaking cool, and I think it insinuates that this home was used for like high-end social gatherings, and that people would ride their carriages here, ride their horses here, and like tie up, because it had 2 horse posts, and then halfway down the sidewalk it had 2 more posts. They just didn't have the horses on them. So I'm just saying, I think this was like a hoity-toity party house. Those are the pros. The cons, interior and exterior needs finishing. So it all needs finishing. Whoever had this house before, they started completely renovating it and then they stopped. So we would have to pick up where they left off. That's a lot. We would have to figure out exactly what was wrong, what wasn't, etc. So like fixing things when it came to electric and plumbing and stuff like that. So let's dive in. Okay, so the rooms are a little out of order here, but that's the front door peeking through there. Very cool. This is that first room you walk in to the left. So obviously the windows are huge. They're grand. They have the wood shutters on them. And then over here is another sitting area with a fireplace. You could tell they renovated a lot of it in maybe like the early 2000s or the 90s because of like the tone of wood they chose and just based on the built-in next to the fireplace. But this space, the ceilings are so tall. The windows, the shutters, just all of the detailing. Also, if you notice, the trim along the floorboards is super thick, which they only do that in the old homes, baby. They don't do that in the new homes. We got these little thin floorboards. Now we're upstairs. I don't know how that happened, but we're in one of the bedrooms. It has this gorgeous built-in wardrobe. Oh, look at it. The floors, we have to refinish the floors. They're all covered in paint splotches and stuff. And then the doorways up here have transom windows. Here's another bedroom. I love the wood plank walls. I don't know if you would call that shiplap. I believe it was just wood paneling that's been painted. And then a fully wood paneled upstairs hallway, which I'm not mad at. This is another huge bedroom. Again, more windows. I believe this one has a window unit AC, but the house does have central air. A gorgeous closet, more painted wood paneling, and just so good. So good. I absolutely love this house. And then to the left of that, we have this little closet. So this is like a storage closet. Cody's doing some inspecting right there. But this is really cool. If you could like fully refinish that room, imagine like a little kid's playroom, or like I was joking that that's Zola's room. She could just go in there. It has a lot of potential if you did something like low seating, or I don't know. I think as a kid, if I saw that, I would be so excited to go in there. It even has a window. So much beadboard. Just the weight of the doors, like things are old and they're better quality. So here's a better look at the staircase. We love it. We really love it. We wouldn't change that. We would leave it. So now we're gonna go into the bathroom, which they've completely ripped everything out. So this is like a full project. Ripped it down to the studs. Another transom window, which is cool. That's the tub. I believe it's flipped upside down. We would have to reconfigure some things. We're seeing where the water lines are. It has parquet wood floors, which is really cool. We were just kind of looking at the potential here. All right, so now I'm going back down. It's a pretty narrow staircase. They didn't make things as big back then. It's like shallow, I guess, too. We got the entryway, and then this is the bottom bedroom. So this bedroom's gorgeous. I'm obsessed with the windows. There's 3 gigantic windows in here, a closet, and a bathroom. So this would be your downstairs bathroom. So in my head, this would become like an office or just a room that everyone could go in to use the bathroom, unless we added another one in, which I'll show you where we would have to add that in later. But you can see the entranceway here. Like there's just so many little vignettes you could capture in this home. It's so good. And it was a gloomy day too. So for us, that was really nice because we love some gloom, and it was really lush and all the trees were just popping. And then in this entrance is a little cubby, which I believe they used to put the phone and then the phone book in a drawer underneath. So here's the kitchen. Okay, the kitchen's actually really cool. I can envision this so good. Like I'm obsessed with this kitchen. Extremely tall ceilings, really solid cabinetry that could either stay the same or be painted, add new hardware, and then a huge island with a second sink in it. So I love the fact that there's an island, something I've never had myself. A huge pantry you could walk in. I just think the layout of the kitchen's really nice. And then this is kind of like a dining nook. There isn't a formal dining room. You could make one of those living rooms, but it just wouldn't leave a lot of space to lounge. So there's that dining nook over there. Okay, now we're going down to the basement. Being in Illinois, obviously you have to have a basement for tornadoes and stuff like that, but basements can cause a lot of problems with flooding. So she kind of has been really, really good pointing out things like seepage, or she can just tell if there's been like flooding issues there. So if she approves a basement, that's really good. And she approved this basement, especially for being from 1866. It's like stone walls, and it's solid. Like the foundation's actually really solid, but the problem is the plumbing. A lot of the pipes were covered in duct tape, and there was a small leak down here in one of the pipes. So again, fully redoing plumbing. This is that dining nook I was mentioning before. The windows are gorgeous. It looks out into the yard. And then this is the back room that I think they were converting into like a laundry room or a mud room, because there's a huge hole in the ground where they probably were gonna install the appliances. But I believe you could potentially do a powder room in here. I'm not sure, but that would be nice to have. But like it fully needs to be finished. They just put some drywall up, but it also slants a little bit, so you have to fix that. So much potential. Best neighborhood, walkable, brick streets. Like it's a historic neighborhood. That's house number 3, the Victorian house. So earlier I mentioned that we did put an offer in on one of these houses, and I don't know if you guys can guess, but that house was number 3. House number 3 just tugged at our heartstrings so much. It was absolutely perfect, absolutely what we were looking for. We put in an offer low, and he accepted it. We knew if he accepted our offer that low that there were major issues. So we got an inspection, and this all happened so fast. We were home for like a few weeks. This all happened also right before Lollapalooza. So we were like on pins and needles. Like it was just a crazy exciting time. We put in the offer, got accepted, got the inspection, and then we pulled out because the inspection came back. It had major electrical issues, like potentially could cause a fire ASAP. So he was like, you need to handle that immediately. So pretty much rewiring the entire house. Plumbing, there was like a lot of things that weren't complete. We would have to kind of assess that whole situation and do the entire house. And then the last thing was mold. So the day of the inspection, it was raining, so he couldn't test for mold, but he goes, I didn't test for it, but he's like, I saw it, like there's mold. It's just a matter of if it's this kind of mold, black mold, blah, blah, blah. So he basically affirmed that there definitely would be mold, but he couldn't test the extent of that day. So from that point on, Cody and I knew like this was already in the higher end of our budget, and the amount of work that had to be done was like $75,000 to $100,000, and we just don't have the capital for that. We pulled out, and it's really sad, and we think about it all the time. That house was so cool. We pictured ourselves there, you know what I mean? I could picture us doing the projects. I could picture our family pulling up to the driveway. I could picture us hanging out in the yard. We were very close, but that's okay. Wasn't the right house. We simply could not handle what it needed, and I hope someone buys that house and makes it absolutely gorgeous. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I have been wanting to film a video like this for so long. I love looking at houses, all things architecture, interior, like I love it. So the fact that I was able to film this just is absolutely crazy to me, and I'm just so grateful that you guys care and are watching and are supporting us. So thank you. I hope that there's many more videos like this to come, or maybe not many in case we do find the house. We've looked at a few since, like on FaceTime. These were the ones we looked at in person that I was able to film, and I think that has a more of an impact. I also don't think I could use listing photos on YouTube. So after we got back from our road trip and went through all of this, we kind of said we're gonna take a mental break for a few months. We had to catch up on work. We had some more travels planned, and we're kind of settling back in now that it's fall. Cody's extremely busy with his work, but we're gonna start looking again. We're starting to send each other listings again, and if we have to fly back for a weekend to look at some houses, we will. But that's kind of where we're at. We're hoping that in the winter there might be less competition because we do have an alternative lifestyle, and we don't have to buy a home in the summer because we have kids or because of school. So I'm very excited for what this has in store, and I really hope we can find the perfect old home with lots of character that we can put our stamp on. I'm gonna go finish my iced coffee and think about that house some more. Oh, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on social media. We're at HighBoyLA on all platforms. Thank you again. We love you so much. Bye.